Hi everyone, I'm really glad you tuned in again today. It's always great to have you here, following along on this guitar building journey. Every time I sit down to record one of these videos, I'm reminded how rewarding it is to share this process with you. Today, we've reached an exciting point. We're going to wire up the pickguard and the guitar electronics. This is where the guitar stops being just the pieces and parts and starts becoming something real, something musical. So let me walk you through. First, I'll be installing the potentiometers, the volume and tone controls, and the 5-way selector switch. These tiny components, as small as they are, they play a massive role in how we interact with the guitar. They shape how the pickups send their signal. They let us tweak the sound, and they become part of the guitar's voice. Now let's talk short about the pickups I chose. I went with Hotrail humbuckers, and not just in the bridge position, but in all three positions. These are compact and high output pickups that fit perfectly in a Strat-style pickguard. And I really like them because they combine the clarity of a single coil with the power and the noise canceling of a humbucker. So maybe you would ask, why three hot rails? Well, I wanted a consistency across all positions, but also the ability to push the amp harder, especially for rock and heavier sounds. Normally, a Strat would have three single coils, of course, but by going all hot rail, I'm giving this guitar a unique voice, something punchy but still versatile. And we will wire them up in the classic Stratocaster configuration. That means a 5-way selector switch, one volume control, and two tone controls. But here's a little twist because I'm using the dual capacitor setup. The dual capacitor setup means that this setup allows me to control the tone of the bridge humbucker using one of the tone pots, something you can't normally do with a standard Strat wiring. Usually in a typical Strat, the bridge pickup runs wide open with no tone control. But by adding the dual capacitor setup, which also includes wiring a little bridge on the 5-way selector switch, that means that we can use the tone pot also for the bridge humbucker. Okay, so before we jump into the wiring, let's make a moment to appreciate the guitar body itself. It's made of beautiful walnut wood, and over the past few weeks, I've applied about 10 or 11 thin coats of diluted wipe-on poly. So each coat soaks into the wood really well, and bringing out the grains. So I'm giving the surface a subtle sheen and starting to build up a protective layer. But this is just the start. In total, I'm planning to apply at least 20 more coats of wipe on poly. That's right, 20 more layers of wipe on poly. So each one carefully applied and lightly sanded between the coats. And so I will slowly build toward a deep glossy finish. It's a time-consuming process, but the result is absolutely worth it. A hand-applied finish like this has a warm depth and feel, and you just can't get it from a factory spraying, in my opinion. Now, because the finish isn't done yet, I'm holding off on drilling any final holes. That means no pickguard screws yet and no permanent output jack installation. Instead, I'll temporarily secure everything with painter's tape. It might look a little bit messy, but it's like let us test all the electronics before we commit to final assembly. All right, so let's break down today's plan step by step. So first we'll prepare the pickguard. We will install all the pots and the switch, making sure they're seated properly and that the wiring passes all clear. Then we'll carefully wire the pickups to the switch and the switch to the pots, of course. And each solder joint needs to be clean, secure, and solid, so no cold joints and no loose wires. And as we go, I will double check the wiring, of course. Are the hot leads in the right place? Are the grounds all connected? Are the capacitors all right? And every detail matters because once it is all closed up, fixing mistakes becomes a lot harder. And actually, I find soldering really relaxing. There's a kind of rhythm to it. Heat the joint, feed the solder, let it flow, let it cool down, check. It's a slow but careful dance, let it say, and it forces you to stay in the moment. Once the wiring is complete, we'll gently place the pickguard onto the guitar body and we'll line everything up, tape it down, and connect the output jack. So here I'm checking the 5-way switch and the pots. And I will prepare the screws and the springs. It's a little bit fiddling with the screws and the springs, but that's the job. I always feel a little bit thrilled at this stage. So um, once the wiring is complete, of course we have to check everything, and I'm always thinking about strumming the first chord on the amp and hope to hear a beautiful and clean tone. Um, Also maybe a crunchy overdrive, depending on the amp setting, of course. Here I'm testing the continuity of all the grounds, and I'm preparing the output jack of the guitar, because I'm wiring in a little connector, and this is just for the purpose if I have to disassemble the guitar, it is easier to disassemble the complete pickguard from the output jack. And I'm soldering these connector wires in place, checking everything. And now I'm soldering the hot wire. Now it's a little bit fiddly. I have to use a screwdriver to put the wire in place, but once it is attached and soldered to the connector, it will stay there. For the soldering, I'm using a professional soldering station. It's from a German company called ERSA. ERSA is really specialized in electronics and in everything regarding soldering. They're really professionals, and it is very, very important to have a really good soldering station, especially when you're soldering the pots and all the grounds, or the claw. Yeah, the claw is, you need a really powerful soldering iron to solder all the grounds to the claw. Okay, I have checked the continuity, everything works fine. I'm cleaning up a little bit. And now let's go to the pickup connections. I have to wire them to the switch. And now I will use a little bit shrinking tubes to isolate all the wires which are exposed. Look to the wiring diagram to be sure not to make a mistake. And yeah, it's a pretty much straightforward thing. Now I'm checking the positions of the 5-way switch, because I want to know where I have to solder the bridge, the middle, and the neck position. Because sometimes if you're using these import switches, they will be in the wrong direction. So if you're connected like the diagram is showing, sometimes it happens that the switch is connected differently inside, and then the bridge pickup becomes the neck pickup, and this is why I'm always checking the positions of the switch to be sure that all solderings has only or that they are correct at this point. Now I'm checking the middle position. Everything seems fine. Once again, the bridge position. Yeah, okay. Now I know which lug belongs to which pickup. Okay. As I forgot to drill a channel from the electronics cavity to the output jack, I have to do this right now. And for this I'm using a really long drill bit to make it a little bit easier and to drill in a steep angle. It's getting pretty hot. The drill is smoking. You can see the smoke, but hey, walnut wood is a really hard wood. Okay. Now I'm using my Dremel tool to clean up a little bit all the fuzz. And okay, now I have to check if the connector from the output jack is going through the channel, and yes, it fits. Okay. So the output jack is in place. As I have mentioned, I won't drill the holes right now. I will use some painter's tape just to put it temporarily in place. Okay. And now let's move on to the pickguard. The long black wire, which you can see on the left side, is the ground wire. As this is a hardtail, this wire connects to the bridge. So this wire is mounted directly under the bridge. Okay, now I'm attaching the neck. And of course I have to fix the bridge in place. I'm removing my capo. This is just to keep the guitar strings in place. Yeah, and this is now just fixing the bridge for the screws. This bridge is a special top loader, a bridge from Wilkinson. I like it very much because you can use it as a top loader bridge, but if you want, you can also make holes through the body and use some ferrules and then just make a string through the body configuration. So with this bridge you have both options, and this is why I like it. And also it is very well built, and yeah, I like the saddles and everything. In this configuration I've decided to top load the bridge In my opinion, the top loading of a bridge results in a smoother feeling from the strings. I don't know how to describe it, but the whole guitar just feels a little bit smoother and a little bit slinkier. And here I'm checking the grounds. Everything seems fine. Output jack to the bridge and to the strings and also to the screws, and there is continuity, which is very good. This is what we want. Okay, now I'm also checking the position of the pickguard, and I will also tape it temporarily in place. It's looking ugly, but it will do the job, because also the clear of the guitar body is not finished, and I will not drill tiny holes in the guitar body, which will fill up with a wipe-on poly, and I have to re-drill them again. Okay, now I'm stretching the strings. I'm using a little string scratcher tool. I forgot the name of the tool, but this is really something I can really recommend. It's a great tool. It doesn't cost much, and it is perfect. It is really a great tool for string stretching. Now I'm intonating the bridge and also checking the tuning of the guitar. This is a little bit a repetitive process. We're going one step forward, one step back, and yeah, if you have ever intonated a guitar, you know what I'm talking about. And this is the first setup, and yeah, now I'm checking the string height on the 12th fret, and I like to approach a really flat string height. It's about 1.2 millimeters on the high E string and 1.5 millimeters on the deep E side. And here it is. Strung up, intonated, the action set it, and I hope to see you soon again. I don't know when the next part will come out, but stay tuned and subscribe. Hit the bell.